Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast, a podcast carefully designed to introduce a wide range of very talented and highly skilled professionals ready to share their knowledge and advice with you. Please welcome the host of I Got a Guy podcast, Michael Drelichars. Welcome to I Got a Guy podcast. I'm your host, Michael Drelichars. Thank you so much for being with us. We have so many loyal subscribers every week, and I hear some great response, great feedback from folks. I know you're enjoying the guests that we have each and every week, and again, this week is no different. If you're new to I Got a Guy podcast, go to igotaguypodcast.com and you'll see a list of all of our episodes with a short synopsis of each one of our episodes with a link to be able to listen to it. And then you can also click on YouTube or Rumble and watch the podcast if that is more comfortable for you or more your style. Watching is perfectly fine. So we're on multiple platforms, audio platforms, maybe 15 or so different platforms. So lots of ways to experience I Got a Guy podcast. So as you know, this podcast was born out of reading a book called The Go-Giver. Bob Burg wrote a great book, and it's all about how networking works and how it doesn't work, frankly. Many people think networking is all about getting referrals. And I've seen people at networking events ask for referrals. But the reality is networking is all about giving referrals. The more you give, the more you gain in return. So it's really focused on giving referrals. And in this book, The Go-Giver, they list out 5 laws of stratospheric success. And the one I want to focus on today is called the law of value. And it's defined by give more in value than you receive in payment. Give more in value than you receive in payment. And I think as you get to listen to our guest today, you're going to see how he resonates with that law. He's very strong in that area, and he delivers a tremendous amount of value to each and every one of his clients. And he's also an avid networker and supports the same philosophy that I do, that the givers gain. So please help me welcome Mike The Wrapper from Vernon Graphics. Mike, welcome to the show this week.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, I appreciate it.
You know, Mike, glad to have you back on the show. You know, you were on the episode many months ago, and we had a great time. And you and I have shared so many awesome conversations and shared some great opportunities back and forth. I really I enjoy what you do, and I enjoy sharing with you and passing leads your direction. And I really appreciate the introductions that you've been able to provide in my direction as well. So first of all, I wanted to thank you for that. But I know you work for Vernon Graphics. You're a vehicle wrap. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. So you're a vehicle wrap guy. You work for Vernon Graphics. Tell us a little bit about. Well, first of all, let's tell us about your background, because I know you have an interesting background. You've been in the industry for quite a while.
Yes, thanks, Michael. So I grew up in the northern suburbs of Chicago, and I always had kind of I was always doing art in grammar school and high school, and an art teacher asked me if I ever thought of going into art as a as an education. So I started thinking more about that, and I ended up going to the School of the Art Institute of Chicago for 4 years and got a BFA. When I was where I grew up in the suburbs, a lot of fathers or a lot of parents had their own businesses, which I found to be, interesting and positive. My dad, just briefly, worked at Michael Reese Hospital. He was the chief of X-ray, and then he worked at Children's Memorial Hospital. So although he didn't work for himself, I was always proud of him. But I decided to go to the School of the Art Institute. And when I was at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, I got involved with the co-op program. And that's where every semester I would gain 3 credits for that semester by working at a different, in a different industry related to art, either a medical media department or different business here and there. So when I got out of school, I started freelancing. I got a job in doing corporate identity at a company in the Xerox building downtown. I was doing logos and brochures and all that. But I started freelancing, and I ended up going into my own business when I was 20s.
Nice.
I joined up with a guy who had a business on Michigan Avenue at 520 North Michigan Avenue. He was working for a lot of agencies. He was going to do sales, and I was going to do the art. Well, he was a little bit more focused on his business, which I, to some degree, understand that. So we ended up breaking that up. But and back then I didn't know how to sell. I was too young and inexperienced. I would go cold calling, knocking on people's doors, thinking that's what to do, and I can only imagine what I looked like back then. This little baby face coming on someone's door. So I went back to work for a company for a while, for a few years, and then all of a sudden I was still freelancing, and I ended up transitioning into starting my own business. And I had a company. It was called Paramark. And I did that for like almost 25 years. The economy was changing. I ended up phasing out of that, and I ended up starting another business, which was involved with a liquid nutritional, or I actually worked with another business on the side. And then I also started a Groupon type business in the North Shore area. It wasn't Groupon, but it was one of those. Then what happened was it was a little tougher to get that new business going. It was all based on various things, and my wife asked me if I ever considered going into work with someone else. You can get insurance and all this. So I was used to being an entrepreneur since my late 20s, and I ended up going to work with a company in Buffalo Grove that did automotive emblems, 3D molded parts for point of purchase display, and I was a salesman. I was one of two, and then actually I ended up becoming one of one for like 3 years. But then COVID came, and the whole company, actually, basically all the people, myself and everybody else, were gone. The company's still around. Actually, the funny thing is, one of the guys I know that worked there in engineering, who is Bulgarian and moved back to Bulgaria, was in town last Friday, I think it was. Yeah, Thursday or Friday. And him and I went back to the company and visited and walked around the company because there was no hard feelings. It's just what happened in the economy.
Sure, yeah.
So I ended up, talking to a headhunter who was told me about this one company out of state, and it sounded really interesting because it had to do with vehicle wraps. Now, years ago, I never really knew much about vehicle wraps at all. I mean, I'd see them. You'd see them, we all see them, and I was more attracted to, if I ever saw something on Facebook or something, this real elaborate vehicle wrap that looks almost like a dinosaur tearing open the side. It was just cool graphics, but it was really neat to see the vehicle graphics on a semi-truck or a bus. So long story short, I decided to talk to them on the phone. I had an hour interview and then a half hour with the production manager. Then I drove down to Iowa where the parent company was. And then we drove over to the factory in Missouri. And the people were great. It's a family-owned 5th-generation business called the Vernon Company. And then they own the company called the Vernon Graphic Solutions, which is what I was ended up making a partnership with. So so I'm in active sales, and I deal with customers all around the United States, but mostly in the surrounding Chicagoland area. But and as far as my approach is, being a graphic designer, which is nice. Well, let me back up one little second about a design, and then I'll go into what I was going to say. I have friends that are printers, and he had a creative person that was so talented. I mean, I like to think I can do pretty good myself, but he was super talented. I recognize his talent, and my friend told me that this artist is really talented, but he doesn't like sales. A lot of people don't like sales. A lot of people don't understand networking, which even I did in the very beginning. But I always like sales. I say design comes natural to me, but sales and dealing with customers and networking that way is what I enjoy the most. So so I'm able to design like this little board behind me. It's just a quick little layout that I did, and I do like every couple months I come up with a new one, different heading, different before and after images, like a before here and an after there of a van or a truck or whatever that I've worked on, and I attach it and I send it out in an email, just touching base with people, and it's a good system for me. Or if I go networking, I bring these big billboards up, and I kind of share this with other
Represent
people.
what you do.
Yeah, so I'll stand up and I'll say, "Hi, I'm Mike. I'm Mike the Wrapper from VGS," and I'll tell you why I'm Mike the Wrapper in a second. And it seems to work out really well. So I over the years, I don't know if it's my personality or whatever, or just what I like to do, and being tied into the visuals that I can create. I brand myself as Mike the Wrapper, and it helps me in the process.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
brilliant, actually. That's a really smart idea to have that moniker like that. That's kind of cool. And
thank you.
people think when they think uh, grammatically of Mike the Rapper, they're thinking rap music,
Right.
and you spell it WRAPPER. So as you're rapping the vehicle, so it's a nice play on words.
Yeah, people make suggestions about, when you go to these networking group and you stand up and you say your 30 seconds or 15 seconds, I should rap something. I said, no way. I don't want to clear the room. I want people to say. But
Exactly. Know your
I
strengths.
came
Play to your
up with
strengths.
I came up with Mike the Rapper. It's simple, and I came up with a little logo design, being designing things. I was calling people in the beginning before I came up, starting with this new company, and my last name's Finkelman, and I call up and go, "Hi, this is Mike Finkelman at Vernon Graphic Solutions," and I kind of felt like people are like, "What? What is this? A sales call or what?" So now I just do the simple thing and say, I'll call them up and I'll say, "Hi, this is Mike. I go by Mike the Rapper." And for some reason, that they hear that and they laugh a little bit, and it buys me
Yes.
a little entry to kind of go in and say what a little bit more of what I do. And we all have our little approach that we do. So I find that to
and
be kind
and and, he, and it's important because as one of our previous guests, Alan Stern, often talks about humor sells. People
yeah,
remember a little bit of humor, and it's not an in your face joke, but it's just it's cute enough and it's funny enough where people remember that you stand out. And in the world of so many salespeople calling on these companies, you need something to stand out, and I think that's brilliant. I think it's
yeah,
really really smart.
yeah. I'll have
So
my
well,
little jokes I have my little jokes like
yeah.
we all do. My wife always tells me I'm not funny, but people seem to smile, and it kind of works for me. Like
That's right.
I'll call an office all the time. It's just natural for me. And say the person who answers the phone, say Sue answers the phone, and she's the receptionist there. I'll go, "Hi, this is the president of the Sue fan club calling." So or it's really corny, but I said, "We're actually organizing a Sue parade. We want to know what floats you want." I mean, dumb things like that, but it just makes the day a little easier and fun.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's fun. It's kind of funny because when I speak with folks and especially in customer service, and just as a side note, it's kind of way off tangent, but when I talk to somebody in customer service and they help me out with something and they're like, "Is there anything else we can do for you?" I said, "You know what? You've done great. Take the rest of the day off. Tell your boss you earned it because you really helped me out." And they
There
all
you go.
laugh, and I'm like, "Yeah, have a good day." And
Yeah,
it's just kind of, I think it's just kind of how you lighten people's day a little bit.
yeah.
And and
I
and
tell a
and
lot of
that
I tell a lot of times, like younger, like people getting out of college, like my kids or their friends, because I think back to like the sales thing I was talking when I was starting out and I didn't know how to sell. I say, if you could, the people you're coming across with now, there's people that are very stiff, and you deal with them. That's their personality. But the majority of people are friendly. And I say, they're the same. If you could look at them and realize they're the same person at a family barbecue, the uncle, the cousin, the brother, the this. And if you just are respectful, you do quality work, you're there on time, and you do what you say you're going to do, you can let the guard down a little and just and enjoy the relationship. Like it
right.
kind of a little bit of an added perspective.
Yeah, no, most definitely, most definitely. But I think getting back to vehicle wrapping and Vernon graphics, I think your background with the many years of graphic design, your technical training, your certified training, your degree in graphic design, and all your experience as an entrepreneur and other graphic design experiences you've had over the years, really, I've seen some of your vehicle wraps, and they're tremendous. They're very creative. They're eye catching, and as an average consumer, when you're at an intersection, you see so many trucks with logos, with lettering on it, and it's kind of like overwhelming because there's so much stimulation at those intersections. So you really have to have a van or a design on a truck that jumps out, that stands out, and because otherwise it just becomes blended in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, go on.
with that, it's like, if a company's driving around, they have a vehicle, now there's budgets involved and stuff, even a small business, but it's all subliminal in a way. So if a person's vehicle is dirty or it's got rust on it, uh, you know, I guess they just can't afford to do it. Not a bigger company, but even a small company, it's a subliminal reflection of the business, just in general, just on the basis of what your vehicle looks like.
Yeah.
But graphic wise, less could be more. It just has to be done the right way. Obviously maybe the right fonts, this or that. And sometimes we're supplied art by customers, and then sometimes we're actually asked to generate art with our art department, which we do. And what I'll do sometimes is and I've done this just as of last week, I'll design like a new directional layout or a couple options. That way, before I turn it over to the art department, I at least know that the customer is kind of looking, that's kind of what they're looking for. Like this one vehicle back here, it's a company in Lake Barrington, Angel Water. They do water systems for clean drinking water for families and homes and all that. And I searched for a variety of images of kids, cute-looking kids, all nationalities, all that, holding glasses of water, and we blew them up on the side of the truck, and we picked the font with their logo. And when you drive down the street, you see these happy, smiling faces holding this water, and it makes you want to look at it. It makes you want to, see it. Another kind of story is we don't just do vehicle wraps; we do wall graphics and window graphics, interior and exterior walls. And there's a business in Morton Grove, and it's called Pro Auto. It's a young family that has a 5-bay shop, and I won't even tell you, but I can only speak highly of them. And they wanted their inside waiting area that was perfectly clean, but it was all gray, but it was clean where people waited, and they wanted graphics on there possibly. So I designed all this montage of these vehicle-related old vehicles, new vehicles, people smiling, and we put it all up on there. And I have an image, but it'd be kind of hard to tear up. But on the outside of the building, when you're driving down Dempster Street, heading west from 41 or the Edens, you come up their building, and if you know the building's there, for sure you see it, and you're like, oh, yeah, there it is. But before I even went over to see them at their building, I passed it several times, not even realizing that was their building. So what we decided to do on the end of the building closest to Dempster, they have a 3D large sign that says Pro Auto. On the brick underneath it, we found it. I searched with the owner, Julie, and we found a great image of a young kid kind of leaning out the front passenger side window with his chin on his arm, pair of sunglasses, hair blowing in the wind, and just looking towards the building. And it's probably like 10 feet wide by whatever, 6 feet or 7 feet high, right in the brick. And what's good about something like that is when people are driving up down Dempster, they'll see this image and they might just drive by and go, oh, look, there's that cute picture of that kid. And the next time they drive by, and again, they see the image. And then, not that that's the only reason why, but they'll start realizing even more there's a business there and what the business is, and they've got some very positive feedback. So it doesn't just have to be vehicle wraps, but it's wall graphics, window graphics. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's you made a couple really good important points there that I wanted to kind of highlight here. But in fact, let's pause that for a second. My comment. Let me take a quick break from our sponsor, but come back. I want to talk about some of those factors that really make a difference, and I think there's some businesses that can learn from this. So, but before we take a break, Why don't you share your contact information, Mike? How do you want people to reach out to you, to reach out to Mike the Wrapper?
Well,
What's the best way?
my email is pretty long. So I'm going to give you my phone number is 847-527-9686. 847-527-9686. On Facebook, if I think it's Michael Finkelman, but if you could search, and I think it comes up, it says Mike, and then in quotes, the Wrapper, THEWRAPPER, Finkelman, FINKELMAN. So Mike the Wrapper Finkelman. That's my Facebook page, and it's got a lot of images. That's another way you could see a lot of things I've done. And I think if you go on LinkedIn, it's just Michael Finkelman. If you could find me, the reason why you might go on LinkedIn only is because you'll see a lot of feedback from customers that wrote things about my services, reviews and all that. And it's a compliment. I appreciate everything anybody wrote.
Yeah. So I will put that information on the screen for our viewers, and it'll be in our show notes. So your phone number, your Facebook page, and LinkedIn page. So to our listeners and our viewers, if you want to reach out to Mike the Wrapper, that's how you want to get a hold of him. And make sure you tell him that you heard about him here on I Got a Guy podcast, so we can close the loop here and know where our opportunities come from. It's just how networking works. But we're going to come back from a break, and we're going to talk a couple really important points from your earlier comment here. So let's stick with us. We'll be back in about a minute or so, and we'll continue with Mike the Wrapper. So be right back. Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. I hope you're getting a lot of knowledge from this week's guest. But now a word from our sponsor. If your business uses heavy equipment as part of its daily routine, sadly, I don't need to educate you on the reality that this equipment has been the focus of many local thieves either. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions works with business owners that own commercial vehicles and heavy equipment. We help these business owners enhance their growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. Recovering a stolen asset is just one way we contribute to the bottom line of the business. Our GPS tracking units used in heavy equipment are weather tight so they can handle the elements and even have an internal battery to continue to report its location should the battery in the asset be disconnected. We have several examples of the benefits of GPS tracking in heavy equipment. Reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions for a detailed discussion about our options and to see if it makes sense for your business. You can find Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions at precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Or call us at 847-865-6008. Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. GPS tracking made simple. Now, back to the show. Okay, we are back. Thanks for sticking with us. I am Michael Drellichars with I Got a Guy podcast. We are here with Mike the Wrapper from Vernon Graphics. Thanks for sticking with us. You know, and Mike, before the break, you were telling some really interesting stories about some clients that you were able to do some creative vehicle wraps and some wall graphics to help their businesses stand out. And I wanted to focus on that for a couple minutes because I don't think that's a common, what's the right word? A common thought. And it's interesting because I see so many trucks, and because I'm in the GPS tracking world, I also look for those same vehicles because I believe any vehicle that has a logo on the outside should have a GPS tracking unit inside. So I prospect by looking at these trucks at the intersections, and there's so many of them that have script fonts, for example, and when you see it for 3.5 seconds, you can't remember. It becomes a blur. And it's so important for these companies. They spend a lot of money on their vehicles, a lot of money on their graphics of the vehicles, and they miss the opportunity to use their vehicle as a rolling billboard. And you have to have good, clean fonts, large lettering, right coloring, so people can see it and remember the phone number, remember the website, remember an email address or what have you, or the tagline. Or in a case of like Angel Water, where you have those cute kids holding a glass of clean water, that's a memorable experience, and people can remember. They got this angelic child on the side of a van, and it's Angel Water. What a great correlation! It's memorable, and that's what actually helps those businesses sell. And I'm frankly shocked that when I'm at and I see these trucks, so many of them have letters peeling off. The font is wrong. It's too small. It's wrong color. The vehicles are filthy. They're rusted. The fenders are flopping, what have you. And you mentioned how it speaks to the image of the business, and it really does. It's so critical. So if there's any businesses listening, and if your graphics in your vehicles aren't super clear, where somebody can look at it in a second or two and know exactly what your business does, you need to call Mike the Wrapper, and he can help out come up with a better design. Right, Mike? Is that how you phrase that?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I'd be it's I kind of instinctively have a good eye, for what design works. If I kind of like it, I have a feeling it's most likely going to work or will work. So yeah, it's important, like you said, copy peeling off vans and stuff. Think about when we were younger, or even whatever. Certain people would always say, "Well, I can only draw a stick figure." Well, a lot of people just don't think creatively that way, and that's fine. I mean, and there's certain people that do, and if they do, they instinctively know how to help a business stand out. I mean, there's certain vehicles and businesses in the Chicagoland area you think about, and I won't even mention who they are, but their vans are like all neon color, whether it's green or orange or whatever, and that's their branding. And people see those neon vehicles going down the road, and they're obviously with their logo on there, the way it's on there. There's you got to think about what's going to make you stand out, but it's got to
Exactly.
be done right. It's got to be, like you said, clean, legible, and make the message, make the mark.
Yeah, not too many words, the right size. You just have to think about it from a broader picture, and the environment in which somebody's going to read it. And if it's zipping down the road at 35 miles an hour, you really don't have much time to be able to capture and read all that information.
Yeah, less is
So,
more. Old phrase, less is more.
yeah, very much so. And that's where I think you have such an advantage, because you are a professional networker, you are a professional salesperson, but with all your background in graphic design, it's a good complement, blending those three together. And there's a lot of folks out there that are great salespeople, but may not have the graphic background to really know what's good. So you bring that to the table in one package, and I really think that's an important component, because it streamlines the process, gets right to the core, and like I said before in our opening, that's the value that you bring to the table. And so you can talk through your years of experience and all the examples that you have, and on your Facebook page, you have so many really awesome examples of trucks and vans and vehicles that you've wrapped, or in the case of ProTech, your graphics on the wall. Um, and I know you've done other wall graphics, but you have so many examples in Facebook that somebody can just scroll through there and know where your skills are and where your strengths are.
Thanks.
So I think it's really smart marketing.
The company Vernon Graphic Solutions, with VGS, they're national, as I mentioned, and they've done work with everybody from country stars like Blake Shelton, Luke Bryan, FedEx. We did Floyd Mayweather's touring bus. It could be, so for here, I've done multiple trailers for beer companies, but also if someone needs a logo on a door, just say, it's a small business. I'll treat and respect that customer the same way if there's a larger vehicle that they need. Now, of course, the larger vehicle is a nice order, but you never know by doing the right thing for people who they will refer. Because obviously, we've all had that situation where you've done work for someone and they, someone someone sent me a text this weekend. Mike, do you do color changes? I have a friend of mine who has a BMW and they don't like the color. And I said, that's one of the main things we could do as well. We could take a vehicle that's, for example, I have a customer of mine called Land Care. They're national. I found them by just seeing their vehicle driving on the road one day, and I kept reaching out to them. And over a year or so, I finally got an opportunity to do one of their vehicles where their corporate color is tangerine orange. And they wrapped Teslas. So we did one Tesla, and then we were able to do a second one. And then after a while, the president of the company out in California was trying to figure out, should he paint them or wrap them? And they decided to wrap them. So we went back and we just did 5 in Texas, 10 in Atlanta, 2 in North Carolina. So that's where we, with our installers, we can coordinate all that. So whether it's a color change or a wrap or wall graphics, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good area that I hadn't thought of. But I met a gentleman recently who he had showed me a picture of his Porsche, and it's the matte finish, and I'm like, oh, that's an interesting paint scheme. He said that was a wrap as well.
Yeah.
And so he's got so if he pulls the wrap off, it looks like a normal shiny Porsche, but he's got the matte finish on it because it's a wrap. And I had never thought that would be. I thought it was all painted. I just didn't realize it was a wrap.
Yeah, and then 3M has these swatch books that the pages are about that large, so they're pretty good size. Maybe what's 5 inches by 4 inches, whatever. And what's nice about that, if you were print those colors, which in some areas we digitally print colors for like partial wraps or areas, but when you're doing a color change, you want it totally obviously to be consistent. So they make colored film that you put a wrap around a car. It's kind of like shrink wrapping in a way. It's used heat. You line it up. If you've ever seen the videos, they're online on YouTube. They work. They're artisans, obviously. I mean, I can't do it.
Oh, absolutely.
But you have the colors that are like you. There's various oranges, for example. There's various blues, obviously. And you can pick these colors, and when you apply it to the whole vehicle, the color is going to be the same on the back area as opposed to the side door, the hood, everything.
Sure. Yeah, that's getting to the installation part of it. I mean, that has got to be a skill that these people that do the installations have many years installing. And are they your own installers?
Well, we work with a network of installers. We do have 2 main ones that we work with in the Chicagoland area. We can install on premises of a customer if they have a kind of a sort of, well, more in the winter, but a temperature controlled environment with space.
Sure.
But our environments are dust free and all that. So most people just will bring up, they're located near Elk Grove Village, which most people, even if they're in Chicago or Bolingbrook, they'll bring them there. But if they have a facility that we can do it there, we definitely would. Yeah. And the one thing the one thing about installation, one time there was a semi truck that we did an installation. It was for a friend of mine that I knew, and for some reason, when it came in, the phone number on the back of the double doors, one little like 3-inch number 1 was missing. So we guarantee everything. So we replace it immediately. So I said, "What? Ship it to me. I'll go and install it instead of having the installer go out there." So I went out there and I registered it out. And I went to put it down. I kind of put it in it, and you put the corner, and it sticks. And you're like, uh-oh. And it's like I couldn't move it, and it was, thank God it was in the right position. But it made me learn why. If they needed something installed, you have the installer do it. They're artists, they're artists.
Yeah, and that's really important because you want them all to look the same. You want to look uniform. You want them to last. But I've seen those graphics installed, and it is a very it's not a quick process. These right. Installers don't rush through it. They take their time. They make sure there aren't any bubbles, and they fit properly around the windows and the wheel wells, and it just looks so great when it's done. So
yeah,
it's a nice process.
Michael, if there's there's graphics that go over like a side van door with a sliding door, it's amazing how the graphics continue across even when there's a split, and it looks it looks perfect. It amazes me even too.
Yeah, and I like how when they put it on the windows, you have the perforated film on the windows, so from the inside you can see out, but from the outside you can't see in. That's from a security standpoint. I focus with my GPS tracking business. We focus a lot on security, and a lot of these trucks have so many expensive tools and parts inside their vehicles. You've got to protect that, and yet the driver has to see out the windows to be safe as well and on the road. So it's kind of it's a double win.
Yeah. It makes the vehicle have its messaging, or even a storefront window. Yeah, you could see the graphics as you go, as you're traveling around or you're driving past somewhere, but they can see out. which is nice. You don't want to feel like you're in a cave.
Right. Oh, no doubt, no doubt. You don't want to be in the complete dark. And it's got to be safe but visible and utilize every square inch of that vehicle or that window graphic or your side of your building to get your marketing message out, because it's that memorable thing that makes a difference, and people remember clean, good graphics that send the right message. So, so what type of customers do you work with? I mean, we'll do a lot with trades, right?
Yeah,
Plumbers and
like
roofers and
HVAC,
HVAC.
roofers, moving companies. If you think about all the various people that you see on the road, you probably don't even necessarily. The average person doesn't think about it. Food. Here's a funny quick story. I'll make it quick. Going back to before I did rapping, I used to do a BNI group. I used to meet at a Culver's, and the owner of the Culver's had a van, and this was before I really paid any attention much to rapping on vehicles. And he had this great giant photograph of a hamburger, and the other side was a milkshake, kind of on a tilt, a chocolate shake. And I'm like, his name's Kevin. I go, Kevin, what a great new van. He goes, it's not new. It's 10 years old. The body was in great shape. The vehicle ran, and I just wrapped it. And I'm like, I took a kind of a step back. It just like blew me away visually, being an artist, and then realizing it wasn't new, because so that's the thing. You can wrap something. If anybody has a business and they want to get their word out there, and they have a vehicle, and they can buy, if they can find a vehicle that's in good body shape and the engine runs, even if there's 100,000 miles on it or so, you wrap it, you put some graphics on there. I mean, you could drive that around as like you said, a portable billboard. It's just you can make a vehicle that's 10 years old look like it's pulled off the showroom.
Right. Yeah. It is really important. And I have had many customers that purchase vehicles with a lot of miles on them that are in good condition, that have been well maintained. The engine's in good shape, and it runs well, and it's just doing it makes good sense for the business. And then you save a little bit on the purchase of the vehicle, and you can put that money into proper wrapping and lettering and advertising on the outside of the vehicle. And now you're making money from that vehicle, because you're building your image. It's sharing your brand. It's extending your brand. And, and in my business with GPS tracking, we help businesses take it one step farther. And by putting GPS tracking in those vehicles, the owner also knows how well those vehicles are driving down the road. I had a situation recently where our customer of mine, the owner, received a phone call from some innocent bystander, and the owner was told that the vehicle caused an accident because the driver was driving so recklessly that the driver himself was not in an accident, but he created an accident behind him because of the way he was driving. Mm-hmm. And that's a very negative situation where the company an innocent civilian down the road saw that logo on the truck, grabbed the phone number as the guy sped by at 80 miles an hour. So his vehicle wrap is very good because the individual was able to grab the phone number to complain about the driver that was driving recklessly.
Yeah.
So that was, and now the owner is analyzing that and coaching, counseling his drivers to be safer, because that rolling billboard can be positive or negative.
Right.
Well, if you're doing the wrong things.
The negative could still be positive. Like you said, he's going to educate his drivers that, hey, this is what happens. You're going to get called out on it.
Yes. But it's, the image on the road can be positive and negative. If you're driving respectfully and the vehicle is clean and somebody drives by and say, oh, well, it looks like a really nice landscaping company, I should call them. Or I need a plumber. Or, gee, I need to get a quote for a roof, I should call this roofing company. If the vehicle, takes the turn on two wheels and is squealing its tires and driving like a maniac, you're like, well, I don't want this person anywhere near my house, because they're if they're driving recklessly, they're probably going to treat me as a customer recklessly, and people don't want this. So depending on how the vehicle is driven, it could reflect negatively upon that business. So it's
100%.
it's kind of marrying the two ideas together. Have a good graphics, get your message out cleanly, and have respectful drivers driving the vehicle. And now you're maximizing your opportunity, and you're growing your business. So it's a
That's the
good
win-win.
pairing. And that's why I like working with you, Mike, because you and I, we think a lot alike, we network similarly, and our businesses are so closely matched that we can work together consistently and help these
Yeah.
companies grow and prosper.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And one last thing about the
So,
networking, Michael.
yeah,
One more thing about something, like you were saying, it's, the networking portion of whatever the businesses you do, I do, other people do. It's like you said, you got to, one of the first messages I heard, which kind of reiterates what you said, you got to be a giver, not a taker. Because people that try, when you show up in a group and there's new networkers there, and they'll like start handing out, here, call me. The people that really know how to network look at each other like they don't get it. You got to, because the more you give, truly, the more you're going to get. You give 5 things, you might get 1, but you're going to feel good about giving, and you're going to then be respected more for how you do that.
yeah, you are. That's 100% right. And I've been at networking events where it's everyone's passing out their business cards, and there's no connection, there's no value to it. It's just a waste of paper.
Mm-hmm.
But the other key to networking is when you refer a networking partner out, you have to know that person, you have to trust them, you build a relationship with them. So if I refer you to one of my clients, um, that referral is a reflection on me to my client. So you
Yes.
provide a great value to my client, help them out with their vehicles, for example, and now the client is happy, and now the client will think more positively even about me. It helps build my brand, my reputation with that client. And so
Yeah.
then when that client has another friend that needs GPS tracking, he may refer me. And hopefully he's like, oh yeah, and he's got this great guy that does vehicle wraps. And so it just kind of mushrooms, it exponentially grows
Yeah.
because it's all built on trust. And networking is all about trust. So
Yeah.
and whether you're in a formal BNI chapter where you meet once a week and you have your formal process where you share your 60-second introduction and you have your craft talk, etc., or you meet just casually, like you and I, just we'll meet for lunch once a month or so and just share some opportunities and talk about our successes and what challenges we've come across and how we might be able to help somebody. I mean, it all works together. It doesn't
And
really matter
you know,
how you network.
and what's funny about what's really important, which I learned when I got back more into really networking about 2.5 years ago, when I got involved with BGS, was how important the one-on-ones are. People are busy and they think to themselves, well, no, but it is key, because even Michael, when Michael and I were together not too long ago, and we're talking about this and talking about that, and I had a referral here and a referral there. Then all of a sudden you mentioned something that said, I'm like, wait a second, I got the perfect referral that you would be a great benefit to this person, and they could be of great benefit for you. And if we weren't just talking in front of each other, which normally I know what you do, but it just something sparked it. So that's something I think you're in the
Right.
process of working on now.
Yeah. That is an important component that a number of people do forget the value of the one-on-one connections and meeting for somebody for over a cup of coffee or a lunch or just at a park bench and just chatting with somebody, getting to know them a little deeper, knowing their business, knowing the inner workings, and knowing them on a personal level. You start to really connect, and that's where you take a business relationship and it builds into more of a friendship.
Yeah,
And in that process, you can help each other's business grow, and you'll think about it more. And it
yeah,
really is powerful. And frankly, that's why I do this podcast. I want small businesses like your small business, your even though you work for Vernon Graphics, I want to help Mike the Wrapper out.
right.
And so if my listeners, if I can get 1 or 2 listeners to call you that need some lettering on a vehicle or a graphic on a wall in their office, that's a huge win for me.
Right.
And so I love small businesses. Small business is the foundation of our country. It's a foundation of our economy. And without small businesses, we don't have anything. there's so many Fortune 100. Obviously, there's a lot of Fortune 100 companies, big corporations, a lot of people work for. But the economy is driven by small businesses and entrepreneurs, and you know a lot of entrepreneurs throughout your life, and I know a lot in my life as well. And I want to help those businesses grow. So I want my business to grow. But this podcast is really, even though I mentioned my GPS tracking, the reality is I'm here to help promote Mike the Wrapper.
Thanks, Michael.
And that's what I love about doing it.
And even though I do work for Vernon Graphic Solutions, which is national, Mike the Wrapper is the basically remote. Every relationship I build, every communication I have, all the service, the quality service that I try to provide is me. In other words, or if I design the billboards or I brand myself, Mike the Wrapper. Most people don't even know what Vernon Graphic Solutions is. They know Mike the Wrapper. I call people up and I go, "Hey, it's Mike the Wrapper." They go, "Mike the Wrapper." They're like, "Can you build that rapport?" You build, and that's what we love. So I appreciate you, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah, that is exactly right. We are our own brand, even if it's not your own business. Your business within the business is really what you're promoting, and the fact that you were, because of your creative background and your creative bloodline there, you're able to create your own moniker, Mike the Wrapper. I mean, I've not come across anybody that's done that before. So that is unique, and it helps you stand out.
Because if you want to help me with I tell people I wrap vehicles. I don't beatbox. So if you want to help me come up with some kind of song.
Yeah, that's the last thing I could do. I am not musically inclined like that, and I don't have the creative genes. But in all my years of networking, I don't recall anyone else having a little moniker like that. And so I think that's awesome. I think that's really smart.
One last thing, I don't know. One last thing is not only I have personally wise, just for what it's worth, I have 8 grandchildren, and they're all 6 and under. So when I go to sometimes I'll visit my grandkids, which I'm lucky enough they live sort of within 15 minutes of me, and I'll stop by during the day one time, and I go by Poppy. So we came up with this thing. Well, Poppy's got to go back to work. So I said to my grandson once, he was 4. He goes, "Poppy, why do you got to go to work?" I said, "To buy you toys. Do you want me to go to work?" He goes, "Go to work." So it's family, it's all friends, it's relationships, it's treating customers, because like I said, when I told young people graduating college and stuff, the way the relationships are, it's the same thing when you deal with a customer. It's about and networking one-on-ones. It's getting to know the people so they know you, and you know them, and you do good work and you come through, and that's a fuller relationship.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. And then at the end of the day, when you wrap up your day, you close up your laptop, you can take a nice big sigh and know you've done a great job. You've helped somebody out, and that's awesome. So that's a tremendous. I'm proud of the progress you've made and the successes that you've had, and the examples that you share online are awesome. So I really do encourage our listeners and our viewers to go out to your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, and check out more about your business and what you've been able to do, because the images say it all, especially when you have your before and after shots. I mean, those are dramatic. They're huge. So why don't you share for our listeners again, Mike, your the best way to reach out to you, your phone number twice, and then your Facebook page and your LinkedIn page.
Yeah, so thank you. So phone number is 847-527-9686, 847-527-9686. On Facebook, where you can see a lot of variations before and afters, it's Mike, and then in quotes, the Wrapper, THEWRAPPER, and then Finkelman is my last name, FINKELMAN. So Mike the Wrapper Finkelman, and I think my LinkedIn is Michael Finkelman. So it's just Michael Finkelman. That's the only thing. You'll see some samples there too, but it's more like people saying what they think of the work. Yeah,
testimonials, recommendations. Yeah. LinkedIn is awesome as well. So I do encourage our listeners to go to both your LinkedIn page, link up with you, connect with you there, go to your Facebook page, follow your Facebook page, so that when you do put new graphics, you can share that with everybody, and they can get a real good sense of the type of work you do. And I have a feeling that somebody may not even realize what they might need until they see some of your examples and like, oh, light bulb might go off, going, oh, we could do that on my truck. What if we do this? So that would be something I would encourage our listeners to do, and get some ideas, use it as a think tank and thinking session to be creative. And creativity sells as long as it's clean, it's articulate, it's clear, the message is correct, and lettering is good, right fonts, etc. I think it can make a big difference.
Yes.
Super.
Agreed.
So, Mike, any other thoughts you want to share with our listeners before we wrap up the show?
No, I mean, it was great. I was glad I could meet with you, Michael, and share a few things. And once again, I appreciate this, and I appreciate our friendship as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I second that. Our relationship is awesome. I enjoy getting together with you regularly, and look forward to doing that more frequently. And I encourage our listeners to reach out to you and check out your Facebook page, your LinkedIn page, and call if you need anything, and see where how you might be able to help them. And just as we wrap up the show here, let me just throw in a quick plug for Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions, because that is my day job, and that's how we pay the bills around here. But so I work with business owners that own commercial vehicles, and we help these business owners enhance their growth and profit through the use of GPS tracking technology. So if you happen to own these commercial vehicles that you might want Mike to wrap for you, I also encourage you to have GPS tracking. It could be a dash cam. With a dash cam, you can see what's going on in front of the vehicle and inside the vehicle at the same time, so you know if your driver's wearing their seatbelt. A lot of businesses, for example, will have driving policies in their employee handbook, and it says you must wear your seatbelt, no texting and driving, no eating and driving. Well, if you don't have a dash cam inside the vehicle, you have no way to know if your employees are compliant with your requirements. So you have a dash cam in there to know what's really happening, and you know how the vehicle is being driven and where it's being driven. And sadly, we see a lot of thefts of vehicles lately, a lot of carjacking stuff going on, theft of assets, and our GPS tracking can help you recover those, helping the police recover those for you when they are stolen. So a lot of reasons to install GPS tracking. I'd love for you to reach out to Precise Fleet Tracking Solutions. Find out more at our website, which is precisefleettracking.com. That's precisefleettracking.com. Or call us at 847-865-6008. That's 847-865-6008 for more information and for a free, no obligation consultation. So no cost to having a conversation. So please reach out to us and we'll help you through that. All right, very good. Michael, thank you so much for being with us this week. I really appreciate it, and I wish you the best of luck. And thank you for those introductions that we just discussed last week. I'm having a meeting this week with Julie, so I can't wait to chat with her. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. And to our listeners, thank you for listening. And we'll have another episode again next week. So stay tuned and subscribe, and we'll keep it going. So make it a great week. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Thank you for listening to I Got a Guy podcast. For past podcasts and more information, go to igotaguypodcast.com. That's igotaguypodcast.com. Please share this podcast on your social media feeds and tune in again next week to I Got a Guy podcast.